Hey Becca, this is your Uncle Chris coming to you from North Carolina to read a book for your classroom. Sorry we couldn't be there, but we're thinking about you and we love you lots. And I'm here to read today Henry the Hedgehog by Miss Monica Schrader. Henry was a hedgehog, a prickly little hedgehog. Henry lived in a cozy nest in a log next to a big green tree in a huge forest. He slept in the day and slept in the night. He ate juicy fruit and crawly bugs. Henry was perfect in so many ways, but yikes! Henry had one little problem. He was afraid of everything. When Henry heard the tiniest noise, his sharp quills would shoot into action. Spike, spine, poke! Each night, Henry's hungry belly would wake him, and he would sneak carefully out of his nest to find something to eat. Sometimes it would take Henry all night to find food because every little noise would scare him into a shivering ball of sharp quills. One night, Henry woke and stretched out his legs and twitched his nose. He was just about ready to climb out of his nest when he heard whoosh, whoosh. Henry stopped in his tracks and spine, poke! His sharp quills shot into action. Henry rolled into a tight ball. He froze with fear. What could that sound be? A giant bear? A terrible tiger? Henry shook with fear. Henry waited and waited and waited in his tight ball for the noise to stop. When it did, Henry moved toward the opening in his log. His belly rumbled with hunger. Henry stuck his nose out of the log and sniffed the air. He felt a sharp breeze rush across his face, and in an instant he knew it was the wind. Still a bit nervous, but feeling more brave, Henry trotted along, sniffing and looking for something to eat. Suddenly, Henry's ears twitched, and he heard crunch, 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 crunch. Again, spike, spine, poke. Henry rolled into a ball and froze with fear. When the sound stopped, Henry looked up and saw his friend Field Mouse crunching on an acorn. That was close, thought Henry, and he hurried along faster to find some food. Before Henry reached the big rock in the center of the forest, he heard another noise. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Instantly, Henry began to ball up and spike, spine, poke. Henry hugged himself tight. Henry knew a snake was nearby. Henry waited for the noise to stop and then cautiously unrolled his body. His belly rumbled and grumbled. Was he ever going to find something to eat? Henry continued his journey through the forest. He stopped in his tracks when he saw a big, juicy beetle crawling right in front of him. Henry began to follow the beetle. In and out the beetle crawled through the leaves and bushes. Henry did his best to keep up. But suddenly he heard another sound. Pluck, pluck, pluck. In an instant, spike, spine, poke. Henry was in a ball and his beetle was gone. When Henry unrolled, his spirits dropped. He saw he had lost the beetle. His belly grumbled like never before. Henry knew he needed to eat soon because the sky was becoming lighter. He took a deep breath and began to follow the plucking sound. Henry's nose sniffed and his whiskers twisted as he trudged through the forest. What could it be? Henry trotted along, following the scent, and soon found a tall fence at the edge of the forest. When he looked over, he could see and smell the scent of blackberries. Oh, how delightful, thought Henry. Blackberries would be a wonderful treat. Henry flattened out to fit under the fence. Just as Henry popped out from under the fence, he heard that sound again. Pluck. Henry froze. Not again. Spike, spine, poke. There lay Henry, tucked tightly in a ball. His food was only inches away. Henry the Hedgehog held tight in his ball and listened for the plucking sound again, but instead he heard crunch, crunch, crunch. Whish, whoosh, hiss, hiss. He squeezed tighter and tighter. When all was quiet, Henry began to smell a strong, sweet scent. He unrolled at his feet lay the darkest, juiciest blackberry Henry had ever seen. He poked his head up and looked around. Where did the berry come from? Thought Henry. Henry decided not to wait around to find out. He quickly scooped up the berry and rushed home. Once inside his nest in the log in the forest, he sat down to a juicy treat, then balled up tightly to go asleep. And that's Henry the Hedgehog. Hope you enjoyed. Love you, Becca.